Hello, Internet. I'm Daddy Satan, and welcome to the first iteration of What the Fuck Makeup. I've had this idea for years, and I'm only just now getting around to it, so I hope y'all enjoy because there's gonna be a lot more. Basically, this series is gonna be me getting into drag while talking about shit that makes me go, what the fuck? So it's not pleasant, but I'm just tired of everything. There's so much bullshit happening and I want to share it with y'all, and I guess I want to share the misery. No, really, I just want to get a discourse going on all of the bullshit, see what y'all have to think, maybe share some of the shit that I've learned, and also for me to learn along the way as well. So, get into your coffee or whatever little gay drinks you might have, and let's do our makeup. I'm doing my makeup on the floor today because my Murphy bed, which doubles as my makeup desk, is stuck. I can't get it to go up. So I am improvising, which is probably a skill I've learned from drag. Or maybe because I'm good at it, it helps with my drag. Who knows? The first thing I want to talk about is Johnathan Joss, aka the voice actor for John Redcorn, being murdered in one of the first few days of Pride. Happy Pride, I guess? I mean, this kind of just makes me think about when I was going through all of the internet bullying, aka hate speech, when I was getting my Palestine event shut down. Thanks, Libs of TikTok, for the shout out, by the way. But, so many people commented, like, why should queers care? Especially queer Americans. Like, wait till you see what they do to people like you in Palestine, which is not a real argument, invalidates what's happening to the queer and straight Palestinians by Is Not Real and USA. But besides that point, people were just saying that I should be thankful that I'm a queer American, and that's that, but they don't understand what it's actually like to be a queer American because they aren't one. We kind of like, well, I don't know for you, but I live in fear most of the time. I don't let that fear stop me from being who I am, but I do think that the end of my life is either going to come from being killed by the police state or a hate crime, because I'm very vocal about who I am. I live out and proud, and I'm a masculine woman, which peep the new tattoo. Thanks, Kalani. I just got that one too. But yeah, people don't really like queer, hairy, masculine women who don't fit into their typical white heteronormative boxes. So besides my lived experience, imagine trans people of color's experience here in America. Like, queer people get killed pretty much every day here just for being who they are. So for white people to try to say you should be grateful that you're a queer American and not in another country, you have no idea what it's like to be a queer American, because it is not great. Just because we have a few queer businesses where we're allowed to be does not mean that we're safe. Like, how many queer clubs have been shut up, and now you see queer clubs being targeted by police? Really, Bussy? All over again. So, kind of just to restate my point, first few days of Pride, and we have a queer elder of color, and a native one at that, being murdered for who he is and for who he loves. For the police not to say that it was a hate crime is ridiculous, because the dude was shouting homophobic slurs at the time of the shooting. So we see you. But yeah, everything's kind of tied together. Being queer is not a choice, but being a hateful piece of shit is a choice, and people use that choice. to carry out murders and pretty much get away with a lot of it because this country does not care about queer people. This is my first time doing drag brows with my new eyebrow piercing, and it's just 5 weeks old now, I believe. But it's still kind of sensitive, so it doesn't feel great. Speaking of Palestine, the next item on the list is, I've moved to Prescott, and the lovely city of Prescott has decided they wanted to make some bill or ordinance, I'll put it up here, basically stating an official support for Israel. And then day of the hearing, when we realized this was going on, a little group with me included decided to write some emails and submit public comments on a resolution that was proposed to say no, basically, and that we should just support people from all sides. And this is not to say we support Israel as a system, more so the people that were killed in the midst of everything. So basically, if they decided to deny that, it would just prove that it's flat out racism and that they only care about Israelis dying and not Palestinians dying. Not only the day of the hearing did they close off it from being open to the public, which suspicious, but they also denied to hear any public comment, which is that not like our governmental right, our like citizen right to put comments on what our government is doing? But they decided that, no, we don't need to hear any of your comments. We actually don't give a fuck about what you have to say. Just all of us old white people want to make whatever rules, whatever. It don't matter about the constituents. Fuck you. So all of that was extremely creepy, and we learned that as long as any of the council members don't disagree, they can kind of just pass whatever the fuck they want, without opposition or hearing public comments. So all of that was extremely creepy, however, not surprising because Prescott, Arizona is a very small conservative area, and Arizona as a whole is very conservative, and American government and politics is very fucked up. So, not surprising, but does not feel good, so we'll see what we can do about that, if anything. Oh, excuse me. Speaking of Prescott, I would say the hookups are a little bit dry and somewhat boring here. There's not that many queer people or queer people that can understand consent, I guess. I've tried Tinder and I had some good luck with that, but eventually it kind of runs dry and boring. So then I tried Grindr, and that was recommended to me by a whole bunch of people, and it's okay. I don't really enjoy dick pics though. I don't like nudes at all, so that's a little bit gross. But it is better to find more queer-leaning people, but it's still not exactly what I'm looking for, and I feel like there's something missing in my kink life. I don't know what it is, but it is making me sad at the same time. So I'm trying to find that out, and I tried out Field for the first time. I haven't met anybody off of that yet, however, I will say that it is more what I'm looking for. There's a lot more queer people of more of a variety, I guess, and there's also a lot more couples on there. Unfortunately, with couples, kind of like comes the bad couples. Like, couples are fine. I don't have anything against that. It's like the bad couples that I'm against, where she's like, he wants priority, or he has to approve you, or like, it just really sounds very possessive of the man, and I'm like, girl, are you okay? But the cool ones, mostly like the hippie nudists, those are totally chill. Speaking of kink, I also got Mobshitty Fairy Fetish magazine, and I was holding off reading it for a while, and then when I finally opened it, all of this was in there, and I damn near cried. I was like, this is fucking amazing. So that made me very, very happy. I bought some of these, but like, I didn't know this came with it. But he just released a brand new magazine as well, and said the first 100 people get a free Polaroid, and that if you bought multiple magazines, you could get a $10 discount. So yeah, I bought number 1 and the new version. I'm very excited for that to come in the mail. Back to Arizona politics. I'm sure you saw Ruben Gallego holding true to his brand of being an asshole. So recently he said that trans people in Arizona, trans athletes specifically, should find a different hobby or find something else to do. I'll put it up here. Yeah, not surprising. Kind of funny how PhxPRIDE said that the queer community like showed his support or whatever when we voted for him, and now he's turning his back on us. It's kind of like, I just want to bang my head up against the wall. Like, can we understand yet that the Democrats are not doers? They don't do anything. They perpetuate this fascist state that we live in and only care about upholding the status quo. So why do we keep voting for them? Just because they're different than the actual Nazis? Like, you have a choice between Nazis, people who do nothing about the Nazis, but not Nazis, or people that do something about the Nazis, but no, that's too scary. Like, hello, I'm so far left that Kamala is right-wing to me. So, maybe are y'all open now to communism? Like, yeah, it was not surprising whatsoever. But let's talk about trans people and athletes for a second. Like, they statistically are not beating cisgender people at any rate that is noticeable or of any concern. Do you mind? I don't care who wins, if they're cisgender or trans. Whoever wins earned it. I need to concentrate. Okay, back to it. Nobody cared about women's sports before the trans issue. Like, when I say nobody cared, women's sports are statistically underfunded drastically compared to men's sports. Women's sports get their funding cut all the fucking time. I even went to a school where they used to care a lot about our softball team, and yes, I'm a certified queer in that I played softball for 11 years. Yeah, we had a lot of shit go down with our own softball team, and then stopped caring about funding for good caretakers of the field. We used to have like one of the top fields in all of Arizona until they're just like, boys sports deserves more of the funding. Like, okay. Y'all literally never gave a fuck before the trans issue became headlines in the news. So y'all are just pretending because you're transphobic and trying to make it a women's issue when real women understand that trans women are real women. Yeah, stop. People will say that trans women have biological advances, but they do not, especially if they go through HRT. Then they lose a whole bunch of that natural advantage or whatever. But that itself is very misogynistic. There are so many cisgender women that defy the gender norm just because of their genetics. Like, how many women are there, athletes or not, that are like taller than 6 foot, or have a very strong jawline, or have a propensity to a stronger muscle definition? How many cisgender men are there that naturally have a propensity to have a weaker muscle definition, or are small in stature? Like, saying that is transphobic itself and just upholds the gender norms, and is actually a little bit misandristic. It has misandry sprinkled in there, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you're trying to say women are small and frail, men are big and strong. Doing that puts everybody into a box and harms everyone, cisgender or not, athlete or not. Literally, it is just a white supremacy belief that came with colonization. There are people all around the world of all different shapes and sizes, and to say that one gender needs to look or act or be a certain way just hurts everybody. How many cisgender women or men get misgendered all the time just for the way that they are? So, trying to put it in a box to make it easy for certain people to understand only hurts them. It also hurts them in that how many men are insecure about being short. You always see it on their Tinder profile, even if they're 6 fucking foot. They'll be like, 6 foot? Because apparently that matters. So many profiles say that, and like, most people don't give a shit. It's you, men, especially transphobic men, who say shit like that. And even if you're not transphobic, those ideals come from transphobic people. So y'all are literally just hurting yourself. I say the male loneliness epidemic was self-inflicted. Speaking of trans issues, did you know that the trans flag was made by a trans woman here in Arizona, intertwined with Pride and Palestine and all that? I was very disappointed to see last year that PhxPRIDE had our governor, Katie Hobbs, be the parade, I can never remember what it's called. Oh, Grand Marshal. I always want to call it the parade chancellor. But yeah, like, why are we giving opportunities to a white lady? Just because she's a Democrat? Okay. Like, she literally lit the state capitol blue. To say that Arizona stands with Israel? Girl, she does not deserve to be in our spaces. I think we should be giving opportunities like that to trans people of color. They deserve the visibility now more than ever. And sometimes visibility is scary, but to the people who need to see visibility because they are scared of being themselves, or they have no representation or contacts that are like them in their lives, visibility literally saves people. Like, for me, getting to see other alternative queers in the scene was very nice. Then I realized, like, oh, I can be as weird as I want and I will still find friends. And on top of that, I now get to express my masculinity as much as I want when it's something that I've been shamed for in the past, growing up Roman Orthodox Catholic until I was 18. So getting to see other people that were outside of the box made it feel safe for me to be outside of the box. It gave me opportunities to be accepted for being that. And now that I am doing that exact thing, I get people telling me that because they see something different, they feel okay to be themselves. Or because they see a masculine woman, they don't feel so afraid. Or because I portray being the devil, they're just excited to see somebody else into like alternative things or even metal music. So yeah, we don't need to be giving opportunities to normie white ladies who support bombing children. Today I'm just doing my very typical on-brand look, somewhat because I just don't have capacity. My capacity is dwindling. There's so much going on, and everything with ICE on top of the world, like there's just so much all at once, but race stuff really hits me hard. I'm biracial, I'm half Mexican and half white, and race has just always been kind of a sensitive topic for me. I don't quite fit in with white people, and I don't quite fit in with Mexican people either. And on top of that, I do not speak Spanish, and my dad decided to not teach us. And that's okay. He made a mistake. But on top of that, there's also like colorism and elitism in the Hispanic community. But even regardless of never really fitting in with other people other than fellow biracial people, my heritage still means a lot to me. And seeing a lot of Hispanic people be detained every day on my phone and disappeared and taken from their families, like that quote from Anne Frank, that children are coming home from school to find their parents missing and people are being taken away from their work and their jobs. It's very much happening right now. And I'll try to find the commercial, but if you listen to any Mexican radio channels, which I hate the radio, I cannot stand somebody else telling me what to listen to, but I listen to it with my dad, and there's a fucking commercial on there with like the lady who's in charge of like home defense or some bullshit, going on like a minute and a half rant of, if you are here illegally, we are gonna catch you criminals and blah blah.
President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now. If you don't, we will find you and we will deport you. You will never return. For too long, weak politicians left our borders wide open. They flooded our communities with drugs, human trafficking, and violent criminals. They put American lives at risk. Well, those days are over. If you leave now, you may have an opportunity to return and enjoy our freedom and live the American dream. But understand this. Under President Trump, America's borders are closed to lawbreakers. Follow the law, and you'll find opportunity. Break it, and you'll find consequences.
It's the most dystopian shit. I can't even explain it. It just feels like something out of like a futuristic sci-fi movie where the government puts on commercials threatening you for being in a place that you belong. Like, why do we fucking have the quote on the Statue of Liberty that says, like, give me your poor, your hurtled masses? Why do these people whose families were immigrants, like, none of you white people belong here, all of your family immigrated here, none of you are native to the land, why do you guys care if these people came legally or not? Why do you care so much about immigrants? This country is fucking built on immigrants. This country is built on black and brown labor. And to just see all of the atrocious shit that is happening every single day. Dude, I feel like I have about 2 brain cells left. It's quite too much sometimes. But that's why I still do drag gigs. And that's why I still try very hard to participate in community and friendships and intentional connections, because I know that queer joy is a form of resistance and revolution, and you also need to have joy to fill your soul to give you the energy to fight back. But sometimes it is definitely hard. It's an everyday battle. And I also have PTSD, and I would say I'm doing quite fabulous compared to my past. I've been going to therapy for 7 years, and I used to be at the point where I was on full-time disability, and I could not leave my house, not even to get groceries, because I was too scared, and I had become agoraphobic. And I was having panic attacks every single day. But now I'm able to thrive and hold an actual job and be there for my community and have an actual capacity. But sometimes my capacity wanes and I get a little burnt out when the world is on fucking fire. But then I usually get a nice message, like from Yuri or somebody like that, and says that they notice what I do, and it's very nice. So, thank you, community, I guess. That was quite the tangent. Along with Pride recently, I was thinking about how many brands are going to not turn their logo into the rainbow. Because that's kind of been like a joke every year that everybody turns their logo into a rainbow and pretends that they care. But Matt on Instagram actually pointed it out and has a great graphic on the specific brands that did and did not change their logos this year. Which, not that it really matters, changing your logo to be certain colors while typically not having policies or actions that benefit us in any way. It doesn't really matter. But it was just very interesting to notice who did and did not. And it made me think of Germany when Hitler was gaining power, before it was full-blown Nazi Germany. People would dwindle in their political loudness, I guess I would say. Like, you wouldn't be very out against Nazis. It started to become taboo to speak out against that, to the point where it eventually became dangerous to speak out against that. And public support for anything otherwise just began to dwindle and eventually disappear. And it changed societal norms. Like, people in the comfort of their own homes could say that they were against Nazis, but if they were with others, they had to like really know if they were actually on that side or not, because otherwise they would get reported. So it just kind of makes me think about that and how our society is changing, and now it is becoming taboo and, if not dangerous, to be in support of queer rights or immigrants or anything along those lines, aka caring about people. Yeah. I'm sure it'll get worse before it gets better, just like history has shown us. And everything will eventually repeat itself. So, in the wake of everything, it's a good mindfulness practice to just realize that you can't change the past and you can't control the future, so you just have to live in the now and focus on what I can control. And what I can control is educating myself, having fun, creating queer spaces, and trying to educate others. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm not gonna be like a Democrat and just lay down and let everything happen. Okay, that was all quite a drab. I'm sorry if these are really depressing talks, but even if nobody's listening, I just want to get this shit off my chest. I'm tired of feeling alone and having all of these thoughts in my head when I know a lot of us think similarly. But on a lighter but still fucked up note, let's talk about the Switch 2. I'm a very big gamer. I typically game console games every single day. However, my life has changed so much in the last year that I have not been able to. I just started playing Gears of War 2 on my Xbox 360. I have mostly a lot of classic consoles. So for the Switch 2, I learned that, you know the little cartridges that you buy, the physical copy of the disc? Well, those no longer are going to contain the game. They're more of a key that unlocks the online version. And there's this big shift in capitalism and consumerism lately where you no longer own what you buy. You kind of see this with newer cars. Like, if you want certain features, you now have to buy a subscription. You already bought the car, but now you need to also pay monthly to access all of the features of the car. What's the point? This is also coming with gaming. So I don't really like the online version of games because you don't actually own it. Say one day they stop supporting the servers, or for whatever reason it just breaks, or like you can't use it. You already spent the money, but now you no longer really own it. So that isn't very fair in my eyes. And now the Nintendo Switch 2 will only be in that format. Not only that, but the physical cartridges are going to cost like $6 or $8 more than the online version. So either way, you're kind of screwed. Thanks so much, Nintendo. On top of that, if you mod or anything on the current Switch, they can like suspend or break access to the single game that you are messing with. But in the Nintendo Switch 2, if you mod anything at all, they can stop your entire Switch 2 from working remotely. So you won't be able to play any games if you only fuck with one game. So you already bought the whole fucking console, but no, you don't deserve it. Like, what is the point? That's why I really like classic games. They can't really change anything up on me, but eventually all of them will break, but I don't want to think about that day. Maybe I'll be too old and have too much arthritis to play anyway. And back to Katie Hobbs. Katie just passed a bill, or signed a bill, about protecting children that is under the guise of. But no, it doesn't really protect children. So what it claims to do is protect children by requiring you to enter your ID before entering like a 18+ site, aka porn. What this really does is it creates a government list of people who access porn, and also a register of what kind of people and who are watching what kind of porn. So I'm actually reading this really good book right now called John Willie, A Bizarre Life, and I'll do a full review on it when I'm finished. But it talks about how from like the 20s to the 60s, not only was it taboo to be into kink or queer stuff, it was illegal. And you could either be jailed or institutionalized for just not being into missionary with straight people. So, that's super scary in the land of the free. And I don't really want a register of what I would like to look at or what other people look at. I think what you do in the privacy of your own home or a safe space is no business of the government. And not only that, if the United States continues down the path that it's going on, then it could potentially again become illegal to be into kink and or being queer. And on top of that, it further targets queer people because, as we've seen time and time again, Republicans and just politicians in general want to label what is and is not sexually explicit materials, and they want to label anything queer as sexually explicit. As you've seen, like, a very common tactic against having drag in public is labeling it as inherently sexual. And while a lot of it could be sexual or freaky drag, is usually in the safety of bars or private places where there are not children. We are adults and we understand what is and is not appropriate to bring around children. Kind of the same way how straight people, like, let's say John Cena, for instance, he can be a children's book writer, but can also be in very inappropriate movies and say very inappropriate things. How is that cool? Oh, it's because he doesn't say the inappropriate shit in front of the kids. It's almost like adults have duality and are able to understand what you can do in front of what audiences. Say they start to label generic queer stuff like sex education or just general queer resources as sexually explicit. Then it would be hard for minors to get access to queer information, and it would also keep a register of who is accessing queer information, which I would not want the government to have with the path that it is going down. So, thanks, Democrat Governor Katie Hobbs. Even nationwide, they're trying to just ban porn outright, and I don't have a very firm stance for or against porn. I more so just think that sex work is real work, and people should be able to access consensual art and entertainment for appropriate uses if they are adults, instead of parents relying on the government to try to protect their children. Maybe they should just actually parent their kids and censor their kids on what they're doing and pay attention to what they're doing, instead of just giving them an iPhone, an iPad, and a laptop with free reign to the internet when they're 5 years old or less. If you want kids, do your job and parent your kids instead of asking the government to do that and then forcing legislation and restrictions on the rest of us adults. But, you know, a lot of people that have kids aren't really thinking like that. A lot of people that have kids should not have kids. And a lot of people that are child-free by choice would most likely make the best parents. But I digress. Today is the day I'm filming on the No Kings protest, and I was not able to go because it was in the morning and then went into the time that I needed to get ready for my drag gig tonight because my gig is out of town. So I'm sad that I wasn't able to go, but I know there are a lot of you out there representing, and that makes me happy. Even in this small town, there was a good group of people that wanted to go. And surprisingly, there are a lot of old people here, mostly Democratic leaning, but they still care and want to make a change, and that's nice to know. Most people have good intentions. A lot of people on the right even, but a lot of people are just undereducated and misguided. I really want to make a lot of community spaces where people from different backgrounds can get together, because I really think the right and the left have more in common than we think. I just think about like public interactions, like a majority of people would help you if you were like stuck on the side of the road, or a majority of people would hold the door open for you, or just have common niceties. I would say maybe it's dwindling under current events, but I know we have that capacity because we're social creatures, and I think deep down most of us care about each other. Only the news and the elites have turned us against each other. So I'm thinking of doing community coffee in my front yard and having neighbors just come and meet each other, because I think that if a lot of these people realize that, like, oh, queer people or people of color or just people that are different than me maybe aren't so bad, then they'll stop voting our rights away and just realize that we, the working class, have more in common than the bourgeoisie. And then we can start becoming more class conscious and working against things that are working against us. Hard sometimes to find the duality and to not want to just outright hate all Republicans or Democrats even. They sure make me mad. Well, voting our rights away, and or, as we've seen with the Prescott, not allowing voting and still giving our rights away. But what was I saying? I literally just had a brain fart. Oh yeah, it's hard not to just outright hate people that are different than me. I also fall victim to that. But I have to remind myself that we are all victims under this system. And those people that are different than me, like, when I'm out in public, I make old conservative people laugh all the time. And, like, I'm very nice. I'm a nice person. And if only these people would get to know me and other people like me, I think they would understand, like, oh, wow, queer people are just people, and them living their lives has no adverse effect on my own life. So I try not to just outright hate all of them, but sometimes it is hard to keep that in mind. But it is an ongoing practice, and I think it is important to keep it in mind for the revolution, because I don't think the revolution will be a civil war. I think it would be a class war. And that is the only way we will get things to change. So because of that, I have to have hope for our Republican counterparts and Democrat counterparts. Especially seeing all, like, the older Democrats here. They are very active. And they might not be perfect, but they're trying. And they care about people. And a lot of Republican people, I think, are just so far into that lifestyle because they themselves are looking for a community and they want to feel right. So maybe if community wasn't so closed off and sectioned, and we just got together because we were human and we share in actual community like neighbors, then things could be a little nicer. But maybe I just have my head in the clouds, who knows? I do have some good things I want to share. I don't want it to be all doom and gloom, because I know that can be a little too depressing, and I don't want people to associate me with only depressing stuff. But I wanted to talk about Enough Stuff. It's a non-profit, and they give away free shit. Like, it's basically a thrift store that's all free. And they always get people asking them, how can they sustain if everything's for free? But they tell people that they can only donate one bag of stuff at a time because they get so much, and that gives me faith in humanity. I love alternative stuff like that that benefits the community, and I kind of want to do similar stuff. Not to the extent of like a store in my front yard. I want to have a community garden that says it's free and accessible to anyone, and excuse me. I also have a really big like a bulletin board, but a fancy one that's encased in glass, and I want to have that to be open to anybody that wants to promote their local business, so that way neighbors can give their business to their other neighbors, and we kind of keep our money within the community instead of giving it to corporations. And I would also put like event flyers and stuff up there too. But the reason I share this is just to show people that you don't have to have a lot to benefit the community. You just have to be creative. And you don't have to do exactly what I do or what others do. But if me sharing this inspires you to do something, then that's what it's all about. It's about community, baby. Thanks for what you do, enough stuff. They're not even in this state, but they inspire me. I would love to do something like that, but I don't know how I would get that off the ground with my lifestyle and the resources that I have. On top of that, something else that makes me think of a similar thing is Social Spin, a free laundromat service basically every Wednesday in the Valley. And I have to be conscious of who I say in the Valley to now, because in Prescott that means Prescott Valley, but to everybody from the Valley, we know the Valley means like the greater Phoenix area. And in the Prescott area, there isn't like one commonly used term for town. Like everybody says something different. I would say I definitely have a love-hate relationship with nonprofits, because they definitely cater to their donors, and because of that they somewhat restrict and censor themselves to what they can and can't do. But at the same time, they're trying to make a difference. But I think it all just like plays into capitalism and our corrupt politics in the end, because basically it's the government relying on nonprofits to do the work of what they are lacking to do, all the while basically giving out free handouts so that they don't have to do the work to fix the problems that they cause. But it is what it is. We'll take what we can get, I guess. If you have some nonprofits or community organizations that you love, please share them, because I'm looking to revamp my website and I want to have a resources page and just share as much information as I can on there, because we don't gatekeep around here. One of my favorite groups is Trans Queer Pueblo. They do so much in making community, and I love that, and I've always had good experiences working with them, so I highly suggest checking them out and or donating or volunteering if you are capable. And if those are too much, you can always just share their events or their information that they share. Some people kind of get stuck thinking that they can't participate in the revolution in ways that others can because they're either differently abled or have different capacity. But I firmly believe that everybody has a place in the revolution, and all you need to focus on is what you are capable of doing. From the comfort of your bed, you can inform yourself. You can share resources. You can talk to your family or friends or connections on the phone. You can email your senators. You can donate to good causes that you like. There are so many different ways that you can make an impact. Don't let the system paralyze you into thinking that you're helpless. That's what they want, because together we're all stronger. And again, I'm not perfect, just doing what I can and learning along the way. And it's taken me a lot to get to where I am now. So I believe in you, buddy. And there we have the finished makeup look. I would say it's not my best because I'm not all the way there. But I know even not my best is still pretty damn good, so I'm okay with it. And this is just the final makeup look. Just wait until I get on all my accessories and my contacts, and then you're gonna want my contact, right? Yeah, I forgot to mention earlier that if you're also a fellow Hispanic person that does not speak Spanish, it's okay. And there is this one post that makes me feel better about it that says, if you're Hispanic and you don't speak Spanish, it's okay. Our ancestors didn't either. And while that honestly hurts in itself, it does still make me feel a little bit better. So thanks for joining me on my rant. I'll show you a little bit of my performance tonight. I am doing metal-esque in Cottonwood at Miss B's Cafe. I guess she is a wife, or she is the wife of one of the band members of Tool. I didn't even know that they lived here or anything like that, because Cottonwood is a pretty unsuspecting place for something like that, I'd say. But it's pretty cool that they're letting us do a show like this, a variety show. And I love metal. I'm a huge metalhead. I've been into metal since I was 17. And yeah, that's like one of my primary types of numbers. I do either metal, rap, or something in Spanish. But anyway, I also wanted to just say that I've been going to the gym for, I think this coming week is gonna be 6 weeks, and I have never had this before. I mean, it's not a lot. I know it's like not that impressive, but I've never had that, and it makes me feel so happy to actually see progress and change. And it's a lot easier than I thought, actually, not like the actual working out, but just the continual going. I think just my frame of mind through therapy has changed a lot, because before I would kind of see the gym as punishment for being fat. But now I'm kind of doing it as self-care and taking care of myself, and I want to look good for myself. And I also want to be strong and healthy for the revolution. I even gave up smoking weed. I have not smoked since September, and here we are in June. And I just think I have a clearer mind, and now I am getting a healthier body. I don't really eat fast food anymore, and that used to be like my primary source of food. I'm changing. The world is changing. I hope you're okay. I know I'm just trying. opposition. Thanks for joining, internet. Bye.